And right now on the 411, it is the calm after the storm. The sun finally out after a winter storm that rocked the Lone Star State. But we are not quite in the clear just yet.
Not quite. Water in high demand as much of the Houston area is under a boil water notice. We're live with where you can find water and stock up.
It has been one rough week for all of us, but at least we've made it to Friday. And thank you for joining us on the 411. I'm Sherman Chow.
And I'm Len Cannon. We've got some joyful news. A majority of businesses and homes across our area do have power again. Take a look at the CenterPoint outage map. The company now saying about 99% of their systems have been restored. And ERCOT, the agency that manages the state's power flow, says they have ended emergency conditions.
Things slowly getting back to normal as the temperatures rise. Blake Matthews standing by. We do, though, have one more night of freezing weather. Blake?
We certainly do. Yeah, we have I almost said a winter storm. We have a hard freeze warning in effect here for our northern counties. That does include Cold Spring and Livingston, Conroe, Woodlands, out towards just to the west of Katy, Sealy, and Columbus, Brenham, and College Station. So if you are in our northern counties, you are going to see those temperatures once again drop back down into the low to mid 20s once again for tonight. But it does appear that once we get through this evening, we are done with the freezing temperatures, at least for a long while, it looks like. Now, I do have some late breaking news, and that is the temperature at Bush Airport, the official recording site here in Houston, has officially broken through 50 degrees the first time since the evening of February the 10th, 9 days ago. So yes, we are headed in the right direction. These temperatures are 13 to 15 degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday, and we're going to continue to see these temperatures warm as we head into next week. Overnight tonight, let's talk about that hard freeze once again. 24 in Huntsville, 26 in the Woodlands, 24 in Hempstead, 28 here in the city of Houston, 30 in Pearland, and 40 degrees on Galveston Island. And Sherman, we're going to be talking more about that big warm-up coming up next week in just a few minutes.
Looking forward to the warm-up. Thank you, Blake. Thousands of people lined up for more than a mile today to get their hands on bottled water in Houston. This was at a city-sponsored distribution site at Del Mar Stadium. Adam Bennett has been there since it started. Adam, how are things going right now?
Well, Lynn, after about 4 hours, they ran out of water, but there were people who were lined up for up to 6 hours before this event was supposed to start. In all, the city says they are giving out more than 1 million bottles of water today, both at this site and at different city council sponsored events around the city. Now, earlier, we saw people lined up as early as 5 o'clock. The mayor's office actually started this giveaway an hour early.
Our Kingwood system and our Willow Chase system stayed fully functional the entire time. Population-wise, I mean, it was the majority of the city of Houston that did not have access to water from Tuesday night through Wednesday afternoon.
She says at this point, that is Director Haddock. She says at this point, everyone on the ground floor or first couple of floors should have at least a trickle of water. She says there are no pockets of town without water being delivered, and average pressure is still going up citywide.
All right, there will be more water distribution sites happening tomorrow. Our hometown hero, Astros star Alex Bregman and his family teaming up with the Astros Foundation and Brothers Produce to host a water distribution event tomorrow at the Astros Youth Academy. This is on South Victory Drive. That's happening from 9 until 2 o'clock. There'll be another one Sunday. That's at Butler Stadium at 2 p.m. And Fort Bend County is also having a food and water distribution event. That'll be from 9 to noon tomorrow on 910 Brand Lane in Stafford. For a full list of sites, head to khou.com.
Down on the island in Galveston, a cargo jet delivers 85,000 bottles to the island this morning. Our Cheryl Mercedes is there live. Cheryl, much needed relief on the island today.
Indeed, Len. This delivery means a lot. It came this morning in the way of pallets of water. A lot of people on the island haven't had water for the better part of the week. This delivery means they can bathe, cook, and just start feeling like themselves again. A COVID-17 is not something that would get most people's attention on the island, but its precious cargo, 252 cases of water.
It's great. It's awesome. It's a blessing.
They don't have to imagine life without it. They already know.
We were not ready for any of this. I was terrified.
A basic resource, something typically so plentiful, suddenly gone.
I didn't know how useful water really was until we really lost it for 3 days.
Hundreds of people in that same situation sat in their cars for an hour or longer. Let's go, to get a case of it.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna heat up some of it and I'm gonna actually wash myself. And I'm gonna probably cook some food that'll be able to last us for a few days.
Volunteers like Angie Brown, who were lucky enough to have water at their homes, showed up to help those on the receiving end.
For all these days, I felt very helpless not being able to do anything. And when I heard there was an opportunity to finally get out and be able to do something, I feel less helpless now. Now I can actually get out and help people and feel like there's something I can do to help the situation.
If you are not in a position to help, Islanders say you can do this.
We just need prayer.
The Texas Department of Emergency Management provided that water donation today. Now there's good news. Mayor Craig Brown told me this morning the city's supply of water, which it paid for, is still on the way. Once it arrives, he will discuss with his leaders a distribution point and also a time. We will let you know as soon as we hear word and pass that along. Reporting live from Galveston, Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Slowly but surely, Cheryl, slowly but surely. Thank you very much.
Well, we have seen images like this in our area and across the state. Pipes bursting, causing leaks and flooding. State Farm is the largest insurer in Texas, seeing a ton of claims from all of these frozen and busted pipes.
In 2020, across the state of Texas, State Farm had 75 claims on frozen and broken water pipes. Already this week, we've heard from thousands of customers, many reporting that type of damage.
Many people are also making a run to stores to try and find supplies, do home repairs that'll hold until at least they can find a plumber. Our Melissa Correa is live outside of a Home Depot. Bet it's a busy place. And Mel, the big question, do they have supplies like drywall and pipe fittings?
Sherman, it is probably the hottest spot in town compared to those mass water distributions. And the answer is yes, they do. Home Depot confirms its supply chain teams are working around the clock to restock shelves. And we've seen folks here in the Heights walk out with everything from water heaters, drywall, PVC, and all sorts of other fittings that are needed for some of those water pipe repairs. But again, another hard freeze is expected overnight with the potential for more property damage. So at this point, patience not only is a virtue, it's required. In the meantime, you might want to consider calling 211.
211 is the go-to resource for help and hope in times of disaster.
The 211 Texas United Way helpline is the largest of its kind in the country. We operate 24/7, 365.
Even during this week's power outages, 211 answered more than 10,000 calls, helping Texans with utility payments, home repairs after pipes broke, and
some immediate needs for food and water.
United Way Houston's CEO, Amanda McMillan.
It has just been a real challenge, particularly for families who are working really hard, having a hard time making ends meet from month to month. And with this, what you now have is a disaster within a disaster.
If you need help, consider calling daily. The resource database is updated in almost real time. Operators speak multiple languages.
Call anytime and we'll do everything we can to get you the help you need.
If you're fortunate enough to not need help from 211 Texas, you may want to consider making a donation to the United Way, which runs that organization. Again, they match people with nonprofits that can help. And Sherman, when you're thinking about this disaster in the middle of another, this pandemic, resources sure are stretched thin. So again, you can donate at unitedwayhouston.org.
All right, good to know. And Houstonians have proven generous time and time again. Thank you, Mel.
President Biden signed a disaster declaration for Texas today and says He actually plans on visiting the state at some point.
The answer is yes.
The president saying he was thinking of coming next week, but wants to make sure his trip isn't a burden as we recover from the power outages, the water shortages, and broken pipes. The federal disaster declaration will help with individual assistance that is not covered by private insurance. U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York is also planning to visit Texas. She'll be meeting with Houston Representative Sylvia Garcia to distribute supplies for those who need it. So far, Cortez has helped raise more than $2 million in relief effort for Texans.
The winter storm has left so many Texans with little resources. If you would like to help, there are several organizations out there. You might consider donating to the Texas Relief Hub, the American Red Cross, Salvation Army, the Bread of Life, and many more. For a full list of organizations needing help, head to khou.com.